Good morning.
Hey, yo, what the?
10K.
And welcome to the first episode of Wild Wednesdays, the new segment of 10K TV. I am joined with two of the tallest people in 10K, Max Veach and Sarge. So
I'm happy to be here. Happy to be back hanging out with you guys. It's been a minute since I've been in front of a microphone, camera, talking sports with the guys.
Same.
I'm excited.
No, we got a good show ahead of you today. Lots to talk about. The Wild have had a decent start to the season. Power play's looking good. Defense, not so much, but we will get into that.
Room for improvement.
Yes. Always room for improvement, I feel like, with any Minnesota sports team. But off the start of the show, we are going to do stick taps and take a lap.
Can you explain the segment for everyone
Yep.
here?
So a stick tap would be something that's good that has happened in the sports world over the last week since we've seen you guys. And the take a lap is something that is not so good that has happened in the last week. So if anyone who's played hockey, there's lots of stick taps and there's lots of laps. So, that kind of is what this segment is. You want me to kick it off? Or do you?
Kick it off.
So my take a lap is former Minnesota Twin Jorge Polanco tearing it up with the Seattle Mariners, dude.
Fuck that guy.
Nah, dude.
His
Jorge's a
serial
good
killer
dude.
eyes, dude.
You know, Jorge had one play that I remember, and it was a bad one where he threw the ball away in that postseason series. But you know what? Other than that, that dude was a rock star for the Twins.
He
Such
was.
a good hitter, man.
He was. Terrible fielder.
Terrible
After the
fielder.
Phillies incident talking about bad throws. I mean,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, come
Valid.
on. That his throw was. I mean, Arias probably could have made the play on that one. So, I mean, not all bad there. But Jorge, I mean, stick taps to him. It's so good to see a former Twin doing well in the postseason. I know we've had a few of those runs. I mean, Rosario after he left had just a crazy run with Atlanta. So this is kind of similar to that.
Par for the course.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So is stick taps or take a lap?
Stick taps.
Stick taps. Okay. Sarge, you want to go? You have one?
Yeah, I got a stick tap. So my stick tap is to the guy who dressed like a goalie last night in
Dude.
Dallas. That
was
was actually so
amazing.
awesome.
You know what? He beat Jack to it too.
Yeah, I would say Boss Man and Jake, they fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, Cody, how many goalies we have in 10K?
We have three.
We have a lot of goalies, man. We could have had 3 goalies show up to the game. Actually, that's what we should do. Just one up them a little bit. Just have all 3 of them go
Just all
just as
3.
goalies.
We're going to have to buy tickets on either end so they
Yeah.
stand behind the
Exactly.
other goalie.
Yeah. See, that would be the best way to do it. They're in different spots of the ice, and a couple of us go dressed as refs, you know?
No.
Yeah, I do. I'll be a ref. I start reffing soon. So.
Oh, that's right. Sarge is a ref. Boo.
Did they have a took on over the goalie mask like you see in the outdoor games, or am I imagining?
No,
it
he
doing?
did. He
No,
did.
he did.
Yep,
I'm
he
looking at it
definitely
right
did.
now.
He
That's
definitely
gotta be
did.
So warm sitting in
Well,
there.
in that, and he's wearing full. How much of a hassle are you to everyone around you?
Yeah,
Like, I know he was on the first seat of the row because you have to do that. You can't be
Yeah.
the dickhead that goes, "Oh, I'm going to sit in the middle."
I
But
saw
that
him
would have been even
walking
better.
Down the
Yes,
stairs. and I
yes.
was like, how does he even get
Sideways,
down?
dude.
You have to go sideways.
He's going like this. Excuse me. His pads are bumping everyone. You could tell people are pissed too.
So,
some of the fans.
Speaking of pissed, how pissed would you be having to smell that kid
Exactly.
right next to you, dude?
Yeah, they looked fresh. The pads looked pretty fresh.
They weren't loved.
No,
yet.
they weren't. And it's Dallas. So this
Yeah.
guy probably bought goalie gear and was like, I'm going to just
100
wear it to
degrees
games.
out there,
Yeah, no
everybody
way.
smells it.
Yeah.
Nobody.
It's Dallas. Come on now. All right, what does Veach have?
Yeah, Beach.
I hate to give credit to other franchises that I really don't like all that much, but Anaheim's giveaway for their home opener was awesome. If you're a '90s kid, Darkwing Duck or DuckTales, I'm not really sure which one it was from. The masks that they gave away on every fan seat is corny and cheesy in its own right, but so freaking
that's
awesome
cool.
in its other right as well. It's just
That's
like
pretty
it's
cool.
going to bring people in. I think they set an attendance record.
There you go.
And for a franchise that hasn't had a ton of success, lately, do what you got to do. Props to them. I felt like it was awesome. Call back to their original logo, heritage, whatever you want to refer to it as. It was cool.
And Anaheim's got a young squad this year, too. They
Yeah.
should be a little improved.
So they won that night.
Yeah. Well, Gibson went to Detroit and immediately forgot how to play goalie. So, I mean, it's like the Detroit Red Wings cannot catch a break with goaltending, I feel like, but that's for another.
Dude, fuck them. They went to the playoffs
Yeah,
like
exactly.
23
Yeah,
years
fuck
in
them.
a row.
Well, this is off subject, but you realize the Wild right now are like, I think they're second out of all sports franchises, the most years above 500 in a row. We've won 2 playoff series in that span. Or like,
tough.
yeah, that's a tough look, dude.
That's
Like,
like
very
the,
tough.
the
The other
Vi-
team, I think it was like the Dodgers was one of them. Like, World Series, they're in the fucking thick of it every
going
single
again this
year.
year.
Yeah,
Vikings
it's
being
ridiculous.
the 3rd most winning
Yeah.
franchise
Oh, yeah.
in NFL history, and the only one in the top 10 on that list without a single
Yeah.
Super Bowl. I think it's the only one without 2, but
Yeah,
for
well,
sure without
we're
1.
destined
It
for
feels
just
like that.
regular season stardom and then folding in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, take a lap. I'm sticking with a hockey one for this one. Buffalo Sabres. Yeah,
Oh,
take a
that
lap.
was me. That
Dude,
was me. All right, I'll
I'm
think of a different
sorry.
one. No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no.
But I mean, for Christ's sakes, we have fans throwing jerseys on the ice. It was the second game, and they're like, "Nope, I'm done with this." They've scored 2 goals in 3 games. Players are literally in their post-game interviews like, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like this just doesn't feel right here. It's bad, dude. That's a bad franchise right now. Hey, they got the Bills. The Bills might
I
be
was gonna
good.
say,
Maybe like they just got beat by Atlanta, but
They used to be a hockey city,
Yes,
and they
yes.
used to be, proud of that franchise and everything, and it's shifted completely. They are all in on football, and they should be.
Yes,
for what it's worth,
100%.
they absolutely should be. But you see all the guys that go to Buffalo or get threatened with being traded to Buffalo, and it's just like that's going to get people to straighten up.
yeah,
back.
exactly. Well, who wants to play there right now? I mean, they've had multiple seasons in a row where it's like, ooh, the Buffalo Sabres could make a run this year. They could be better than normal, and nope, bottom 5 team. It's just the same every
that
year.
That threat you just mentioned was like when my parents threatened me to go to community college after I got a .9 GPA at UMD my first semester of freshman year.
Yeah, well, it's a good threat.
Yeah, it
That's
worked.
a pretty good
it
threat.
Worked. It worked.
We'll bring you home, buddy. You're gonna go to
And it's
community
not an
college.
empty threat either.
No.
It's just like, oh, well, do I want to have fun and, potentially be a
Exactly.
little less happy with my pay somewhere? Or do I want to get paid, maybe
Yeah.
a little bit more in Buffalo, but lose every game and be just absolutely
Jason Zucker
miserable?
effect. When he
Yeah,
went out there,
yeah.
he said, didn't he sign a deal out there or something? He signed a deal somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find one quick or you want me
Yeah,
to go?
I do. And I'm going to stick with the same thing. I'm just going to keep it in New York. I was going to do all New York teams because
God
they
damn
all
it.
fucking stink.
Dude.
But I'll take the Rangers. You can take the Islanders. Veach.
Okay.
How about any of the?
Yeah,
How about
so-
any team in New York,
So,
man?
yeah, New York is struggling. The Rangers are the first team in NHL history to be shut out in their first 3 home games.
And they
Beach,
will
I
start
almost,
to see
I
that.
almost honorable mentioned that with mine. Like I almost paired them in because I was like, that's pretty piss poor for your
That's
fans,
brutal.
man. That's brutal.
Dude, especially when you got some of those guys on your fucking fantasy team.
Well,
Well, that's
okay,
all
I was
another
gonna
thing.
say it's some of the guys they have. I'm like, how are you guys getting shut out 3 in a row?
Dude, yeah, insane.
Yeah, I'll just build off of that one. There's been a lot of chatter online, X, formerly Twitter, whatever. People complaining and putting up the stats about how long it's been. 5,000 days, I think it's been, since a New York franchise has won a championship. And then everybody in Minnesota collectively rolls their eyes and sighs and is like, "What are you guys complaining about?"
Dude.
Like. And then, you've got the WNBA truthers out there saying, oh, no, we've won championships. And it's true. Both,
Yep.
cities that are complaining have won championships. But again, New York has won one more recently. And
Bro.
I should say correctly, they've been gifted one by a corrupt commissioner
Correct.
more recently.
That was
Correct.
so bad. That was so bad.
Oh, God. Even after that, I can't imagine, or I couldn't imagine how she was still allowed to be in that position. And then after the fiasco of continuing
Continuing to come out,
right
yeah.
now, it's
yeah.
just like, all right, the
I mean, you have one of your best
writing's on the
players,
wall,
dude.
yeah.
You have one of your best players having a press conference, basically like,
Yeah.
you need to get rid of like a.
Tough spot. So,
I mean, y'all are seeing this, right? Like, hey.
the one thing I'll say, despite everything that she's doing, the league has continued to grow, and I hope that
good.
it does continue
Yeah.
to grow. But you just got to think that if you've got somebody that gets into that position that the players like and want
Yeah.
to, bargain against or with or whatever, it's only going to skyrocket from there. So
She's sabotaging the league down
yeah,
here. I mean, it's
I'm,
bad.
I'm
dude.
really hoping that goes. But yes, to piggyback off of you, New York in general complaining about not winning championships.
Fuck them.
Take a lap. That's out.
Take a
Get
lap.
out of here.
I love that. That's a good one.
All right. Well, that's that segment. So next we're moving into
The recap, baby.
the recap. All right, your Minnesota Wild played 4 games. They've split. Looked pretty good in 2 and pretty average to below average in 2.
Yeah.
I mean, last night, they somehow – I didn't get to watch that one that closely, But I know it was 3-2 until late, and we had a couple. Like, they were still in the game, but they did not play very well. So what I've gotten.
So we're going backwards. We're
Sure, we'll start, and then we'll go back.
So what I'll say about that game is it was bad from the start. You go in there, and everybody in the fan base is like, it's Dallas. We hate Dallas. You know, Norm Green feelings aside, they've just been able to. Yeah, they've owned us for the better part of 5 years, probably plus.
Yeah.
And
Playoff series back in whatever one they beat us with that weird ending where the puck might have been over the line. It seems like since then it's been all Dallas. So.
Correct. And it's just somebody that you want to beat. So even if there wasn't a, built-in franchise rivalry, there's been one that has.
Yeah, no, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I wanted to chime in here. I just did AI. Shout out AI. The Dallas Stars hold the all-time head-to-head record against the Minnesota Wild with a 54, 28, and 12 record. And
That's
I feel like
bad, dude.
I feel like in the last 5 years, Dallas has just
they've owned us.
They
swept us one of the years. I'm almost positive they took 5 from us or 4. One of the two.
Yeah, going back to it was just last night's game here. It was close at 1.32, but they started out with a 3-0 lead.
Yes,
and it was just like it felt like an uphill battle. And credit to the Wild for battling back and making the game late.
Yeah.
But then it just became too much, and it was just one of those hills that you just can't. Seem to eclipse or get over or whatever, and it was the same result that we've seen time and time and time again, and it was another loss, which was disheartening a bit. But if you're going to lose to somebody, I say it's okay to have a couple of losses to teams that have the aspirations that the Dallas Stars have this year.
Yes, I agree.
So, I don't want it to happen every time.
No.
And I definitely don't want it to happen again to Dallas, but
you got to split with them this year. You got to split. You got to take a couple, man. Because
it's not a feel bad loss. Like, that's a team that's like, all right, it's going to be a battle every time.
I mean, if you want to look way ahead, chances are the Wild are going to be 3rd or 4th in the division, which they might get to the 2nd seed. Who knows? Dallas could have injuries. Who knows? But you're probably going to play a Dallas or Colorado in the first round of the playoffs.
Yippee.
We've seen how that story goes. Show us something this year. You got to play a little better against Dallas.
Yeah.
But the game before that, polar opposite. They come out of the gates, fire in, score 3 first-period goals. It looks like they're going to blow the doors off LA, and they just don't. They forget how to shoot the puck. They had, I think, 8 shots over the final 30 minutes, something like that, something crazy like that.
Ugh.
It was gross,
dude.
Exactly. It's the Minnesota Gopher way. You guys, hey, let's just get in our zone and try to play defense.
Yeah, go back
Not
on
gonna
your
work in the
heels.
National. Not going to work here.
No.
It didn't work, and they came back and had to do it in a shootout where Wallstead stood on his head, might I add. So that was awesome.
Which led to one of the best pictures of the year so
Yes.
far.
Oh.
There's a little bit of recency bias where they're like, best picture of all time. I wouldn't go that far, but it's an awesome one. I hope that he has it hung up somewhere. It's an all-timer for
Well,
him.
and he was celebrating every save. He was feeling it, man.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see. I don't love blowing that lead, though. I feel like LA is a team. They're good, don't get me wrong, but you're up 3-0 on them. Put the pedal to the metal. Let's go. And we had that goal disallowed right at the end of the first, or not at the end of the first, but right before. It always happens. That happens, and the Wild don't score again the rest of the game. It happened twice in the playoffs a couple years ago against Vegas. It's like, as you can continue to score, I hate when that happens. But that one was a little better of effort from the start. But the game before that, again, it's like they're flip-flopping every other game because that one, Columbus played better than us for the first 15 to 20 minutes.
At least.
We had a stretch of 18 minutes there in the second where it's like, holy shit, they're coming, and then just stopped. And then we had to rely on our power play to score goals in the third, and that's okay.
That's a game that Gus wants back specifically.
Oh, my God.
Brutal. I think there was a couple of softies going in, and when you give up 7 as a total, you're kind of battling back from a goals against standpoint, save percentage standpoint, or whatever for the rest. Maybe not the rest of the year, but
for a little
the rest
bit,
of the month.
For a little bit, no.
So,
I mean, he's going to have to because he let in 3 last night, too, on not that many shots. So.
Yeah, you're trying to get back. I think he's at, I've got it written down here, 888 on the year. Yeah.
Okay, he'll
so
get back.
it's still not bad. Once you get above that 900, you're an okay goalie again. And I'm not saying Gus is not an okay goalie. He's had a rough start in 2 games this year. That's gonna, Water's gonna find his level there. I'm not super worried about it. It's just something that he's got to get over.
They're not playing great in front of him. Like the
that's
defensemen
a
aren't
good
playing
point.
great.
Yeah.
Faber.
Needs a little bit of help.
Come on, man. What's happening here? I'm not saying he's taken a step back, but from his first year to this right now, I'm like, something's going on. I mean,
I think they're still figuring out some of the D pairings and
Sure.
getting them back up to
Yes.
speed, and it's going to be a little bit of a
well,
trial
Zeev's going to
and
take
error.
points away from him too, and
Yeah.
that guy's got 5 points already. I mean,
Yeah.
he's looking like a rock star.
Yeah, on the power play, that kid is something else. And don't get me wrong, he's made a couple of mental errors as well,
Oh,
as
yeah.
all young guys do
Yes.
coming into the national and trying to find their foot. But I'm not worried about him either.
Dude,
we'll
he's
say
had a
there's
few
other
where
people.
he's walked into the neutral zone and then into the offensive zone where if he doesn't lose an edge,
Yeah.
which we got to figure that out too because he loses. That's how he skates, so it is what it is. Where if he doesn't lose an edge, he's blowing by those 2 defensemen in on a breakaway, which is crazy for a defenseman. That's like Cale Makar-esque,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool to see. And then with the opener, I mean, we all know how that went. They just blew the doors off St. Louis. That was amazing to see.
Felt good.
It
man.
did.
I
It
know
did.
we were just talking about Colorado and Dallas as being the teams that Minnesota is constantly going up against, and throw Vegas in there too.
Yeah.
And not able to get it done against them. But a decade ago, it was Chicago and St. Louis, and it was just those 2 teams
Literally.
absolutely, pummeling us.
what it
So
was.
I've still got a little bit of animosity towards St. Louis, and Chicago. We've just beaten the brakes off of
Yep.
so much recently.
Yeah, well aware.
that it's kind of like a big brother or a little brother getting stronger than big brother syndrome there, but it still feels good to beat on the Blues a little bit. They've had
yeah.
a cup recently, so
Well, they've had our number in the playoffs too. As what was that, 3 years ago?
yeah, throw that in there as well. So
We were at 2. They always beat us, and whoever's the higher seed in a Blues Wild matchup in the playoffs,
Yeah.
the lower seed's winning most of the time. That's how the history goes.
honestly, throw the Winter Classic in there too. I'm
Yeah.
still pissed about that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to celebrate these wins, and I know once you're up 3-0, it should be fine. But I like
Yeah.
seeing those extra goals.
Oh yeah, 5-0 was sweet, especially the opening game of the year. It's
Yeah.
like you want to see your team go out there and make a statement, and they did. You just like to see them play a little better on the home ice in their second game, but it wasn't a horrible first week. Some room to grow, but I'm liking what I'm seeing, specifically from our power play.
Yeah,
Look at
good
that segment.
transition
Go right into it.
there,
I was trying to
dude.
figure out how to do
Let's
it, but
go.
he beat me to
Let's
it.
go. Yeah, the power play. I mean, I have the stat. We're right now we have 10 power play goals, double digit, 4 games. The next closest team is Anaheim with 4, and then it's like a bunch of teams with 3. And that's fun to see. We're 47% on the year. Both units are scoring.
Yep.
I mean, Johansson the other day threw a puck into the shins, and then Spurgeon gets it, throws it on net, goes in the net. It's like, okay, everything's clicking right now. So the power play, I like our first unit, obviously, but the second unit has a little bit of grit. Hinostroza, he's a sneaky little player, that guy. He's got some serious skill to his game.
I would agree. I don't have any concerns about the power play right now. My concerns are we are, as a state and fan base, relying too much on the power play
Yeah.
for our success in general. I think the Wild need to get a little bit smarter in 5-on-5. I think they need to get a little bit, luckier is not the right way
They've
to
had
put
some
it.
puck luck.
Yeah.
The officiating is still going. Half of it's going the Wild's direction
Yeah.
in some of the penalties that are getting called for him, and half of it is going basically just against Joel Eriksson Ek.
Yeah.
Because he cannot catch a break.
He gets
and
tackled,
that's my
gets
biggest
called.
gripe with officiating in the NHL is that guy gets the worst calls against him year in and year out. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what's going on. So, yes, I'm loving it that we're getting power plays. Yes, I'm loving that we're converting on them. I would love it if Joel didn't have to fight for his life and still end up in the box.
To your point, I mean, look at someone like Ryan Hartman. I love when Ryan Carter talks about it on the broadcast. He goes, well, he's kind of put himself in the situation where he's allowed to be abused. That cross check he took to the back of the neck the other game, I'm
Yeah.
like, how? Like, how are you? I understand he shouldn't have fucking skated by a towel and be like, hey, way to shoot it over the glass. But you can't just two-hand someone to the back of the neck. That's insane.
Yeah.
And he gets no whistle either. I mean, that guy, it was the playoffs last year, game 6. Me and Jake were there, and the Wild just scored to make it 3-2, and we dumped a puck deep in the zone, and he was taken. I mean, it was right in front of an official, straight up taken down.
Yeah.
Everyone's calling for a penalty. Nothing's called. And the Wild go on to lose. It's like this guy gets no whistle at all.
It's
And
one of
he's
those-
kind of done it to himself in a way, but I hate that.
Yeah, it's
I
one
hate
of
it.
those things where it's like, is that personality? Is he just John on the ice so much that the refs feel bad for the other guys? Is it like, do they feel like he deserves it? Like, I know he's got a mouth on him a little bit, and I personally love that. And
Oh, yeah.
it's some of the guys in the other guys in the league. I've heard Chicago guys talk about him very positively in the past as well. So it's like, all right, everybody seems to love them, but the referees. And,
Yeah.
you know, it is what
Well,
it
he
is.
did show him up too. He's
Yeah.
shown him up multiple times. But I mean, still, if you have a guy getting cross-checked in the back of the head like that,
Yeah.
you
It should
can't.
probably be called.
You probably should. I don't care if you just called a penalty on the guy. You got to call another one. That's a double minor. But you know,
I mean, just circling back to the power play in general, obviously Kaprizov is a monster, and we expected him to be, but he's making a name for himself. I think it was in our group chat here that we were talking about it as well, as that guy that's sitting between the dot and the goal line on the far side of the ice and just finding, empty net from there, which is, when I was growing up, I was told, don't shoot it
go
that
to
low.
do not go to that area.
Absolutely, do not shoot it there. You are limiting the amount of space, and now he's made.
You're the setup guy from that spot. They put the quarterback in the corner to be like, "Hey, let's find someone." No, not him. He's
I was
shooting.
Going to say the game has changed, but only for athletes like him, and he's a special talent.
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm not going to say other kids should do that. In fact, I will continue to say what my coaches told me: kids should not be doing that.
No.
But I'm glad that he's able to.
Yes. And I mean, you got Zeev at the top of the power play.
Yeah.
He's quarterbacking it like we expected him to last year in the postseason. I think that kid was so nervous to come in the postseason.
Yeah.
You're seeing it now. And like we all assumed it, but now it's just solidified. Like this kid is legit. And all those questions about him are probably out the door. I don't love how he gets a little bullied out there.
Yeah.
He's not the biggest guy, but he can work around that. I mean, he's a skill guy.
Spurgeon is a good example.
And he
doesn't
can
really
teach
get-
him, I mean, that should be something Spurgeon is talking to him about, because Spurgeon talks all the time about how he chokes down on the stick to get a little better positioning in the corner, and how, as a smaller guy, you got to play a little different. So maybe having a guy like that will help Zeev, because he's taking a lot of hits, man. I mean, he's getting hit hard.
Yeah, and he dealt with that a little bit in college, but it's just a different level when you start talking about guys that have been training for their career, and not training just in addition to other things going on. So I think he'll bulk up a little bit, he'll get a little bit faster, and he'll be just fine. But you're absolutely right. When he gets into those puck battles in the corner, he's not winning as many as maybe he's used to, but. You mentioned it before. The speed in open ice when he gets that opportunity, which is tough as a defenseman.
Yep.
He's still finding another gear. He just needs to be able to get the foot control and stick control to go with it. And once he figures that out at this level, I think he'll be a step low. He'll be in like the tier 2 of NHL defensemen.
Right.
Give it 4 or 5 years. So
Since I didn't watch as closely last night, I wanted to bring a player up who I really liked against the Kings, and that's Danila Yurov. He had a very good game against the Kings. I was almost like, okay, when are we putting him on the second power play unit? Because we need to give this kid some minutes. He looks legit. How did he play last night? Am I right to think like maybe we should move him into that second power play unit? Because
I think it still might be a little bit early.
Okay.
Again, we are having the Wild are having enough success right now with the power play that I don't want to shake it up too much.
Nope.
I would hate to kind of mess with a good thing, but you can have those conversations. I think if you start to hit a stall or something like that, that's probably one of the first moves I make. I don't think that many people would have a problem with that.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that kid. Him and Liam Ugerin, I think those guys are going to be good players for us.
Totally agree.
All right, what do we got next here, Sergeant?
We are on to the look ahead.
Ooh, we got a East Coast stretch coming up here this next week.
Are they playing New York? Any
both
teams?
of them.
There's 3 teams.
Yes, 2 of them.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm fucking
Not all
with
3,
you, dude.
but
They're
2
not
of them.
playing all 3.
Technically, they're only playing 1 New York team.
Yeah. I thought we had the Islanders, but no, we got the Flyers, Caps, Rangers, Devils. Well, Caps first, I should
Caps
say.
first, yeah.
Yep.
That's Friday.
It's a decent
so-
stretch there. There's very winnable games in there. I mean, the Rangers can't score at home, so hopefully they don't figure that out before we come to town.
To be devil's advocate here, if I was a Wild fan, I'd be scared, because I feel like that's the time that they figure out, oh wait, we do.
Well, they probably will. But I mean, we always seem to play okay in Washington. I feel like maybe my memory isn't that great, but I feel like we always play well there. Flyers, usually a high-scoring game in Philly, so I'm anticipating that.
Yeah. The Capitals look fine this year again. I think that Ovechkin just coming in, and maybe he does it every year, and I've just got amnesia about it, but he looks so big.
Yeah.
He does not look like, and I know that he was big last year, and he's slowed down in his older age.
Slowed down quite a bit.
It's not life altering realization that I'm having here, but it's like, when is he going to fall off? And is it this year? He doesn't need many more for it to be a fulfilled career. I think he's probably already hit that based on the milestones last year. But man, I would like to beat him and Washington while he's still there a couple more times, and this is a good opportunity to do it, I think, especially with the younger, faster team that we have.
Yeah.
And that's weird as a Central Division team for me to say that we've got a young, fast team, because that's
I know, isn't it's so
built.
weird actually to see the speed that they have. I mean, that's not our
you kind of got to lean into it against a team like that.
Oh, 100%. Especially if he's out there, you got to put some speed guys out there. He cannot move like he used to. I mean, that's a given. But there is one thing he can still do, is that get to his office and fire that puck into the net. So it's what you got to work for, and you got to stay out of the box against them, obviously, because if you go into the box, you're just setting up opportunities for that guy, and he knows how to score. He's the most prolific goal scorer of all time. So
100%. Flyers are probably the exact opposite game plan. They might be the only team that I would say is younger and potentially faster than the Wild. They've got quite a few really good young players on the team. They're hungry. A coach that's still trying to make a name for himself in that city, which has had a ton of turnover.
Hey, Trevor Zegras, he gets traded there, and he said, I'm not laughing at this, but I just thought it was weird to hear it come from the opposite side, because Minnesotans always go, God, during the winter we get that seasonal depression. Yeah. And this guy said he was in California. He's like, yeah, I was getting seasonal depression down there. Every day looks the same. I'm like, okay, I could understand it a little bit, but like, bro, it's so nice outside. It's beautiful almost every day down there.
It
like,
is one of those things, though. You don't appreciate the good days when they're all good days.
That's true. And like, that's weird, because I can almost understand where he's going with it, but it's such a weird thing to come out and say. It's like, okay, you better go to Philly and tear it up, because that's a weird excuse to have there.
Yeah. I used to hate the Flyers. I used to just want nothing but bad things to happen to them. And now I just don't have that same fire against them. I want to beat them, obviously, as a Wild fan, just because a win is a win in this league, and those points matter.
They've just been so bad. They're just so average and mediocre.
So I hope the Wild don't go into that game with that mentality. I need them to go in saying, hey, we need these points, even though it's early in the year, and it's hard to have that. But it's something that when you've got an opportunity to take advantage of a team that on paper you're better than, you need to do it.
Yep. And then you move to the Rangers, who haven't scored at home. So it's like, maybe they don't figure that out, and we could just go in there and win a couple goals to nothing, Hopefully, our goalies then, we got to make sure we're stopping pucks. But Gus should be, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
It's a good barn, and it's one of those ones that when you play in the NHL, it's like, all right, well, we get to go play at MSG, and it's like, all right, everybody kind of gets up for it and wants to show out for the national media, because despite how bad they are, they still get quite a bit of national attention.
Yep.
So you want to make a name for yourself as a Wild player in New York, do it there.
Well, and then they got the Devils last on this road trip, which I think extends even more, but we can touch on that next week.
Yeah.
The Devils, who have one of my favorite people in media as one of their fans, and that is Frank the Tank. So I think I might have to tune into his little feed for that game, because I love watching him go crazy about his sports teams. But I don't know, are the Devils, they looking any better? I know people say they have depth, but when I look at their lineup, I'm like, I don't really see it, but I'm not watching the Devils every night, so I don't really know.
Devils scare me, if we're being completely honest. So I've got a little bit of the opposite. Yes, they've got Frank the Tank, and yes, his reactions kind of skew me a little bit more towards this team can't be taken seriously. But the talent that they have there, when you go name for name down the list, is like, these guys can play, and on any given night, if 60% of them are playing up to their max potential, like, they're going to put a hurting on you, at least on the goal scoring portion.
All right, I'm sorry. This is not hockey related, but breaking news. McCarthy's ankle's not 100%. J.J. McCarthy reveals he received second opinions that indicate his timetable to return could be up to 6 weeks.
6 more weeks or 6 weeks?
I don't know. I'm just reading the Apple Watch. I'm sorry, but I felt like that needed to be addressed.
No,
I'm shocked right now.
That is quite important. There is going. I'm going to say this right now. There's going to be a section of the fan base that will say convenient timing, because of all of the reports saying that the injury wasn't serious to begin with, and that they wanted to keep Carson Wentz there, and they've had success, and they don't want to ruin what chemistry they've got. JJ is happier with the targets that he's getting downfield and everything else. I don't necessarily believe all those things, but there will be a section of the fan base that's saying that, and I have to get it out there first as saying I'm not saying that, but people are going to say that.
I just never fails, man. And now
You gotta talk to the mic.
Wentz isn't 100% either.
No.
I've heard.
No,
so,
he's not.
hey, I say it's time. It's time.
No, it's
We
not.
put him in the lineup and we see what happens. Tom Brady 2.0, Max Brosmer. Let's do it.
I won't stand for that. I won't stand for the comparison. I won't stand for the Carson Wentz.
I knew I had to say it because Veach is next to me.
Carson Wentz is living out his dream.
I know.
As a
I'm
Vikings
all
fan,
for.
as a
No, I'm
5-year-old.
all for Wentz. I'm all for Wentz. I just had to throw in a little Tom Brady comparison to see if
Yeah,
if
sorry
Veach
about-
was gonna rip my head off there.
Sorry to get off track, but that was kind of crazy.
That is crazy because, God damn it.
Had to touch.
And that's not good for my dynasty football team either because, I have Joe Burrow, McCarthy, and Young. And now 2 of those guys are done, and it's a double quarterback league. I'm like, nice. That's great.
Tough spot to be in for sure.
But yeah, Devils. We're on the Devils there. I believe, right?
Yeah.
Still
Yep.
okay. Yeah, I know. I think is it Jesper Bratt or Jesper Bratt?
One of them.
Dude, that's one of my favorite players in the league. That guy is such a cool player, man.
Stud.
He's got a cool Twitter page too, the Brat Pack. That
Brat Pack.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just wish their fan base as a whole was easier to get along with. They're as bad as the Eagles are in football. I would say New Jersey fans in hockey are maybe neck and neck. They might be a step behind them, but just unbearable in their own right. God bless them.
If I was to look at this off the top of my head, gut reaction probably tells me 2-1-1 or 2-2.
Okay.
Probably.
Hey, that's good.
That's my gut.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go game by game. And so, what's the first game? Zooch start. What do you got?
I think they beat the Capitals.
Beat the Capitals, Veach.
Same.
Okay. So both of you are 1-0. Next game,
I think they beat the Flyers.
Flyers. Zooch got them beat.
Yeah. I'll give them that.
All right. Both 2-0. Who's next?
Rangers, and I think they either lose that one in overtime. That's what I'll say. Overtime L.
Okay.
It'll be a low-scoring affair.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, man. I think they beat the Rangers. They start the road trip
3-0 for
hot.
Veach, 2-0 and 1 for Zooch. All right. What's the final game?
They drop one to the Devils.
Okay.
2-1-1.
I agree.
That's what I got.
So that's a good little.
I don't see them losing by.
Average of that one. That's net
Yeah.
positive.
I don't see them losing by. If they do lose to the Rangers, I think it's gonna be a close game. So it could go either way.
Yeah, I think if the Rangers continue to lose up to that point,
Yes,
it'll
be
a much
different.
tougher
It'll be
game, and
different.
maybe my tone changes a little bit there, just because when you start getting desperate, unless you're Buffalo, some of your guys start to grind a little bit more, and I think that there's enough names on that team where they'll put something together by that time. I hope they get their wins before the Wild get there, so they don't have to do that.
Right.
But I certainly see that as a storyline or a potential storyline for when the Wild visit.
I like it.
All right.
I like it. I think it'll be a good week. Be a great week.
Speaking of weeks, let's get into some college hockey.
Rivalry
we got our
week.
freaking expert here, Veach. Give us, so we got the rivalry game, Gophers versus the Fighting Hawks.
Yeah, the Fighting Hawks.
Where is that being played?
It's in North Dakota. So going into the Ralph Engelstad Arena is always on the bucket list for many people. And with this, series that is not, a requirement anymore because they're obviously not in the same conference, you don't know how many more times you're going to get to go play over there if you're a Gophers player. So it's one of the ones that, with all the history that's built up into it, is one thing. With getting to go play in the REA is another thing. They have to win these games, and then the final piece that goes into it is the Gophers have had a pretty bad start by expectations, by fans' expectations.
The Tech loss is that. I mean,
That's
we don't
the
know
one.
what Tech's gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be that good, but that's a bad L. I mean,
think
at
they'll be-
home, that's a bad L.
Yeah, I think Tech is better than people are giving them credit for this year compared to last year.
Sure.
I think they were third, fourth in the CCHA from the coaches poll. Mankato and St. Thomas being above them. They might have even been one step below that. But regardless, I think they get too much hate for being Michigan Tech and having a down year last year. But this Gophers team is very, very young as well. I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
lost quite a bit of their scoring and quite a bit of their physicality.
Yeah, they're fast. They're fast again. I mean,
Yeah.
they got good talent. LJ Mooney looks really good.
He looks incredible. That
He
shootout
looks
goal
really
was
good.
awesome.
I mean, he looks good. I like. I believe Javon Moore, 27. He looks pretty good. I'm hoping he's going to be a guy, but they're in my opinion, they're just too young this year. I don't see them going on a run like they have in the past. 3, 4, 5 years?
Yeah.
I mean, last year kind of ended shitty against UMass. That was a bad loss, but I mean, I don't see it this year. Maybe make the tournament, but they're not going to be a favorite or a 1 or a 2 seed.
It's always the story in college hockey. If you can find a goaltender to drag you, basically the corpse of the rest of your team through the playoffs and make it a distinct run, that's one way to go about it. And the other way is to just try and outscore teams. And the Big Ten has traditionally leaned on outscoring teams,
Yes.
and that still seems to be the path that most of them are taking. But maybe somebody emerges in net for the Gophers. Maybe they can continue to try and outscore some of these teams. I don't know how it's going to play out for them. I would say there's a lot of people that are souring on them early, and I think that's unfair. I think that they just need a little bit of time to put things together as a really
I agree
young
with
team
that.
to
I
start
agree
playing
with that.
together.
They'll probably have a stretch middle of the season where people are going to go, whoa, look at the
Yeah.
Gophers. They're turning it on now. But Big Ten's kind of tough, too, this year.
That's That's the other problem.
Got some guys.
Is they're going to be compared to the rest of the Big Ten,
Yes.
which I would say is the best that it's ever been.
Oh, yeah. Penn State,
from
Michigan
a
State are
talent standpoint.
very good.
Michigan might not have the best team that they've had since the Big Ten Conference came into alignment there, but
They always battle,
they're,
though.
they're looking really, really good
Yeah.
this year. And throw them in there with the expectations that Penn State has in Gavin McKenna and Michigan State has with Trey Augustine in net and all the scorers on their team. And then you've got Ohio State in the mix.
Yep.
And, other than Notre Dame, I could say any one of those teams could make a decent run.
Wisconsin's
in the
got good
playoffs.
coaching. I like
Yeah,
Hastings over
Wisconsin
there.
had a really tough year to start the year last year. I think that they're going to be in a much different position as well. That's the only reason I kind of throw them in there with some of these other teams. But even them, they've got a big series this weekend against Minnesota State. Mankato going out there to face their former coach,
Okay.
and I don't know if they've got any more lingering players. I think all of them.
I don't think so.
graduated, had
They all
kids.
either left. Yeah, they graduated and had kids.
But yeah, I know there's quite a few people from Mankato, friends and fans that are going out there. That's their hate week. They've
Yep.
got a new rivalry with Wisconsin just because of how everything transpired there. And that's one that I think is going to be a really tough matchup as well. When you're talking about Minnesota State at 20 and Wisconsin at 17 in the national rankings there.
Those are good series.
When you've got a ranked matchup like that, it's going to be awesome. But when you've got some of those other storylines built in there, it should be good as well. And for the record, I don't mean to gloss over as well. Gophers 13, North Dakota all the way up to 8 after their start to this year. And
Yeah, they beat up on St. Thomas, didn't they?
they did, yeah. So they did. I
knew they blew 'em out week one.
St. Thomas,
Or
yeah.
not week one, game one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they came over they played at the Grand Casino Arena now, almost called
The
the
X.
Yeah. It's funny because I still refer to X as Twitter, and now I still refer to Grand Casino as the
There you
X.
go.
So
There you
it's
go.
just kind of a funny scenario. I find my mind being in a little bit of a pretzel there. But yeah, North Dakota looks incredible. They've got this 17-year-old phenom that is playing on their team. He's either the youngest or the second youngest in the nation. I always forget. I forgot to look up the birthdays on those two before coming in here. But his draft stock is on an absolute rocket ship. And with Gavin McKenna being a -3 player, which I won't shut up about until he's positive, which will happen eventually.
It's kind of crazy. He's got to have a ton of points already, right?
Yeah, I think he's got. I don't have it written down, but
So he's been
got
on the
quite
ice
a bit.
for more.
Correct. Yeah, he doesn't play great defense, but that'll come. It'll come.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine. But yeah, that the North Dakota kid, 17 years old, rocket of a shot, and I think that he's got the potential to make a top 3 draft pick claim in the next couple of months here if he continues the way that he's been playing. Some people have said that he could surpass McKenna as the number 1 pick, which I think just based
Calm
on
down
just
for now.
based on everything that we've seen in terms of how the hype train works, I don't know that that's going to happen, but you never know. I mean, the kid looks legit, and if he brings North Dakota back to prominence, that fan base will pump his tires more than anybody else, and everybody that has been familiar with North Dakota absolutely knows that. So that's what I've got for Gophers Nodak. We touched on Minnesota State and Wisconsin. UMD, I have to talk about
go
them.
Dogs!
Who do they play?
They play Bemidji, so it's Minnesota.
Oh, there we
in-state.
go.
Perfect.
Home and home. I wouldn't necessarily call it a rivalry, but any Minnesota versus Minnesota is there's some sort of pseudo rivalry there. A lot of older.
Like Bemidji's got they're always little brother of the rivalry to every school in the state. I feel like
which is
pretty much.
Because
Maybe Mankato and that they got a little bit of a rivalry brewing now.
They played
but
Mankato tough. They've played St. Thomas tough. St. Thomas has been on a much higher and faster trajectory. They may have surpassed them in terms of expectations. But I would say Bemidji plays everybody tough. The one thing I'll say about Bemidji is they're God, I'm going to feel like such an idiot after this for not remembering his name, and I didn't have it pulled up on my phone. But star player went out last weekend. It sounds like he'll be out for a while, not playing in this series from everything I've heard. So that's tough. I always like to play people at their full strength so that when you get into some of the conversation at the end of the year, nobody can come back and say, oh, you beat them when so-and-so was out, or you beat them for this reason or whatever. So tough in that regard, but going into the Sanford Center, that's always a tough place to play, especially this time of year. I think that there's still quite a bit of energy for Bemidji, despite their start. And UMD, they've got one loss to Augustana, which isn't great. But they had some maybe higher expectations coming into this year than last year. Quite a few people leaving in the transfer portal unexpectedly. Bringing in some new talent. I think Schlane was a great addition. His brother played at Arizona State last year. You talk about Plant Shagabe being the top line for them. They're all sophomores.
I was gonna say they got the Warroad kid and the Hermantown kid on that top line.
They look like they're 5 years old too, by the way.
Dude,
that's
I got
one knock.
Now with those guys on that top line. Now I'm a little bit like.
That's the one.
The Dogs. I'm like
against UMD is their size. Typically, they've been a bigger team. They'll get a 1 or 2 goal lead. They'll hold on to it. That's the way that Sandelin has kind of built his teams to operate, and it's worked out great in the past. I think it is tough this year. You've got a little bit of size on the back end there. Adam Kleber is awesome and just looks like a monster on the ice. I don't know if it's because he's playing with some of these other younger, smaller guys.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
But Ty Hansen is great. I would say that some of the transfers that they brought in bring a little bit of grit to the game that we haven't really seen. Scout Truman has been awesome the first couple of games here.
Do you guys still have that goalie that had the green pads?
I don't know if he had green pads or not. Adam Guyon.
That's him. He played in the World Juniors and he lit it up.
Great showings in the World.
But he had those green pads on when he's playing for whatever.
So I thought
that
you
guy.
meant at UMD. I was like, man, that would be shocking.
Yeah.
No.
But yes, he is still there. He is playing well this year. I think that when he came in, because of the showing that he had at World Juniors, people had expectations that we're talking about a Richter finalist.
A little too high, yep.
From the start. And
takes time to with the goalie. He's got to see some pucks in that level.
Correct, and he didn't have a ton of help out in front of him last year. I think
not last year.
Quite a few mental lapses on the defensive side, specifically in the North Dakota and Minnesota series that got ugly quick in a couple different games there. But it's his net right now. I think that the other 2 goalies that are there, they'll probably get a shot eventually. But
that's not a bad netminder to find or fall on though. He should be pretty solid.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that they'll be fine. St. Cloud receiving votes right now. They're playing Vermont. Yeah, it was a little bit surprising there. I think it was only 4 votes.
They got that goalie back
down.
or no? Good one that got hurt last year. I can't remember his name. Okay, so he's done. All right.
Yeah. And then St. Thomas, they're up against Air Force this weekend. So got a little bit of salty taste in their mouth after last weekend, and they just need to find a way to win. Air Force is not somebody that you can.
No,
I
know.
I think they tied Denver in the first game last weekend.
Did St. Thomas play more competitive in that second game against North Dakota?
St. Thomas has played well. It's been a couple of bad bounces. It's been a couple of mental errors. In terms of talent, they've got talent. I wouldn't worry about them having to punch up or anything like that. I think they were ranked to start the season. They just fell out of rankings this week. but they deserve to be right in that bubble or that borderline of teams. I think in the CCHA they'll probably be 1-2. I would be shocked if they fell or finished.
Can they make the tournament this year? They still.
I think they can absolutely make the tournament as an at-large team.
Okay.
I think that when it comes down to it, they are eligible to make the tournament if they win the CCHA this year. Finally,
that's awesome. I mean, that would have been cool. I don't think they won it last year. I think they ended up losing, but still would have been cool.
Yep. So that's what we've got for Minnesota teams. The other items that I've got for teams that we need or matchups we need to talk about, and I'll keep this quick. Michigan State BU, that's a 3v1 matchup.
That's a fun one.
The only reason I bring that one up, outside of obvious storylines being a top 3 matchup, is ESPN. I think it's 2, but the ESPN coverage of college hockey is starting now.
That's
Yes.
awesome, dude.
And it's on ESPN Plus. I don't want East Coast people, the 2 of them that might be watching this, to come after me and say, "Oh, it's on ESPN Plus every week." That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about national media coverage where somebody that's flipping through channels could come across it and see college hockey.
That's amazing. That's such good news.
That hasn't been prominent very often in the last decade, and so I'm excited to see that. If that's what Gavin McKenna and the excitement of some of these Canadian players coming in and NIL can do, I've had my takes about it before. I'm coming around to it. I need the sport to continue its trajectory.
Needs
it's
to
on
grow.
The up and up for
it's
sure.
such a oh my god! It's
100%.
I tell people the March. I love watching that tournament. It's March Madness for hockey fans, and people don't understand that.
100%.
Like you have 4 seeds beating 1 seeds, which you like. Yeah, 4 should be, but that's like. Those are big upsets that are happening every single year. It's not just like, okay,
some
1
of those
year.
4 seeds are, they won their tournament from the Atlantic Hockey Conference. They're the 36th ranked team in the nation, beating the first team.
Yes.
Like, those are insane.
That is insane. That is like I mean, it happens in March Madness too, but it's the same damn thing. It's 100%. Insane.
My only gripe with that is, and the national media coverage, and up until this point, if this continues its trajectory and we start seeing the excitement in these college arenas throughout the year, the only exposure that casual fans or people that were flipping through and saw things when it came to the national tournament was these regional tournaments had absolutely no fans, especially when you're talking about Denver or some of the bigger schools that don't have a good traveling fan base or being in really remote sites. Like, they were showing empty barns, and that's not going to drive attention. When you come across, you're like, oh, well, why would I stick around and watch this?
Correct.
And you don't give it a chance. So getting to see some of these college atmospheres, like I like to dog on Penn State. I like to dog on the Big Ten a little bit there. They've got some of the best fan bases in college when it comes to packing an arena and making a ton of noise. Maine, throw them up there as somebody.
Maine is amazing.
North Dakota is incredible. I would say that there's quite a few in the CCHA that can, depending on where they are, throw up some good numbers as well.
Mankato gets rowdy for big games,
Correct.
know. Yeah.
For the big games, And so it's like, I want to see some of these, the bands like you hear in college football, get them going in college hockey games. The fan bases and their chances.
The Final Five, when they used to do that, they'd bring in Michigan. Michigan Tech would never make it. Yeah. Michigan Tech's band would be walking around playing, and it was awesome, dude. Like, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I think they should move to home regionals. I mean, you put it at the barn of the team that is the number 1 seed, and that's what you do. And I know you have upsets, and that team might not win their first game, and you're going to have the same issue. But I do think you'll have more fans that way.
So we've got 2 more years on the books for I call them remote regionals, but the predetermined sites there. But it's gaining more and more traction in terms of the home regional sites, and the more people going to the home regional conference tournaments. The Big Ten does it. The NCHC is moving to it this year.
Yep.
They're not on.
Which makes me a little sad because I love the Final Five, but that's
it's
not
great.
what it was the last 10 years.
But the more and more people are going to these conference tournaments at home sites, the more and more people are realizing, oh, this gets to be pretty raucous. Like when it was at Mariucci here, and you start to get the Michigan fans coming in or something else. Like, Minnesota hasn't done great in those in terms of how they've fared in winning their own regional tournament or conference tournament. But with that being said, the atmosphere was awesome. And I think that, a lot of these younger coaches that are taking over, there was 11 coaching changes in college hockey this year, a lot of them due to retirement. Shout out Schloss for having that and repeating that stat enough for me to have it burned in my brain. But there's a lot of these younger guys that are coming in, and they might have a change in perception or opinion on where they're playing these games. And I think we are getting closer to having some of these home site regionals, and it's just a matter of figuring out how it works, the off days, and the scheduling for it as well. Because when you're talking about traveling, it's no different. You're not really saving any travel on some of these other sites. And the argument that people have had before about, some of these teams don't have a big enough arena to, capture the revenue that we're looking for. Nobody's going to those regional sites anyway, so the sales that you're losing out on is a fictional, it's fabricated piece of imagination. And on top of that, we've had like 3 schools that have even been in the position to host a regional that don't have a big enough barn.
Exactly.
Because you talk about everybody in the Big Ten, and they've all got a massive facility. You talk about most of the people in the NCHC, they've got a big enough facility. The only one recently that wouldn't have had it would be Western Michigan last year, and they've got an incredible atmosphere, one. And yes, it is a small barn, but 2, they're building a multi-million-dollar brand new facility, and so it's like, that's not going to be an issue in the future. Yes, you might see ECAC, Cornell, Quinnipiac thrown in there as well. They've got smaller barns. Cornell's got a historic barn. It's cool to see.
It seems
it's going to be packed.
Seems like an issue. It's like, okay, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Yeah. It's one of these schools, okay, we'll figure out an issue. Like, come on, it's really not that
We're 2
serious.
weeks into the season. We're talking about postseason stuff already.
I love it.
We're looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a great season. Yeah, it always is.
I'm jacked up about it. The one thing I will say, or I'll close out the college hockey talk, is the parity that we've seen 2 weeks into the season has been incredible. Last week on Thursday, we had Clarkson upset Penn State, New Hampshire upset Michigan State, Ferris State upset Western. And then after that, in the, I don't know if it's Icebreaker or Desert Hockey Classic, they do 2 of them. I think Icebreaker's first. Alaska upset QPAC. And then I already mentioned Denver and Air Force tying. It's like, these blue blood teams, these teams that are in the top 5, 10 of the nation are losing to teams that were expected to finish in the bottom 20. And so it's like, we're seeing quite a bit more. Yes, the college hockey players coming made the good teams better, but we're talking about like a 5, maybe 10% increase in talent, or maybe goals at the end of the year. We'll have to see how that shakes out, whatever. But those same kids, or that same group of kids, is also eligible and finding more and more homes at some of these smaller programs or less developed programs, and it's making them 25, 30% better. So we're talking about an overall increase in talent in college hockey, but with that increase, like I said, the better, or teams with higher expectations are getting a little bit better, and the teams with lower expectations are getting quite a bit better. So that gap in between there is shrinking rapidly, and I think that we're going to see a much, much more interesting finish to the season because of it.
Well, and you hit it right on the head. It's going to add so much parity for postseason play. Like, we were just talking upsets. There's going to be even more this year. Like, some of these teams that you see coming in, write them off. No. They're going to have some of these kids that you just talked about who are going to make them that much better. So
100%.
I love it.
Sorry I went on a tangent there.
No,
we love it.
It's the first episode, man. We got to, show our teeth a little bit. Yeah. He's this is his bit, man. This is college hockey.
Absolutely.
Wild takes?
Wild takes.
I love it, dude. Okay, so Wild Takes, if you listen to the Wild Takes podcast back in the day when we had that up and running, we'd end every episode with all 3 of us giving our wildest take we have for the week. So that's kind of what a wild take is. I have to look up my stat first, so Sarge, if you want to start with this.
Yeah, sure. So my wild take is the Chicago Blackhawks are making the playoffs.
Whoa.
I want to criticize that just because of how many teams in the NHL make the playoffs. But the fact that it's Chicago and the last 2, I'll throw 3 years in there, but 2 for sure.
It's been 8.
I'm just talking about
technically besides the COVID year, which I don't think counts. Doesn't. I'm not counting it. They haven't been in 8 years.
That's kind of that's wild, especially growing up there in it every single year.
The last 2 or 3 have been especially awful.
I mean, horrible, dude. And that's my wild take. Yeah, we don't
Chicago's making the playoffs.
Chicago's making the playoffs.
All right.
I don't know if I believe that, by the way, but it's wild.
All right, sure.
Okay.
All right, my wild take, and I was bobbling between a couple of them. But I think the Wild have what it takes to break the all-time record in a season for power play percentage.
Okay, I thought you were going somewhere else to start.
It's 32.4%, by Edmonton 2 years ago. Okay, I think
That's lofty.
that's lofty, but I think with the start they've had and the players they have in that first unit, if they can keep figuring it out and keep scoring goals, they scored 89 goals. We're at 10 in 4 games. So I mean, it's lofty, but I think it's a wild take for a reason. I think it's something they could get done this year.
I like it, Zooch.
I think they can get it done.
Okay, my wild take is something that's never been done before either. A Big Ten team is going to win the national championship.
I'm hoping it's Minnesota, baby. Probably not this year, but I wish.
I would say they've got a shot, maybe not as good of a shot as some of these other teams. But I dog on them, and I bring this stat up, and I feel like
it is a funny stat.
Time is running out on being able to make fun of the conference for it, so I'm going to continue to do it. But I really do feel like this is the year that the Big Ten wins it all. I think Hockey East, BU, BC, Maine is very good. They are quite talented teams. They run young as well. So when you're talking about talent for talent, age for age, those style of teams have typically lost in the playoffs to a bigger, more physical, experienced team. I still think that that's a possibility, given some of the NCHC teams, Quinnipiac, and others that are still in there. But eventually it has to work out. I think this is the year.
And I'm going to piggyback. I'm going to pick a team. I think it's going to be Michigan State with Trey Augustine in net. I think he's gonna get it done this year because they have a sour taste in their mouth losing last year. And that was basically a home regional, was it not? They're at basically. It was close. Or was that Penn State that had Penn State? But never mind. I'm getting my teams mixed up there.
Penn State had a home regional, and that was
they were in the Penn State regional. No,
that was the one where Penn State went through and beat Maine. So Maine had to go as the 1 seed and play. Penn State.
Yes, that's right.
It wasn't at their arena, but it was
damn near. They had their whole crowd was Penn State.
Correct.
Damn near.
So it was playing an away game, which is part of the reason that not everybody, many people want those home games to happen in the playoffs. But yes, it's one of those things that I think Penn State, Michigan, Minnesota all have a really good chance. I agree with you. My front runner is probably Michigan State for goaltending alone, and what that does in a playoff atmosphere. Trey Augustine obviously has to continue to be healthy and have the ability to play and finish those games out, but I don't see that as being a hindrance.
All right, I like it. I got nothing else, Sarge.
Go drink Captain's Patch.
Yes.
Yeah, look at that.
Delightful.
Look at these guys. Oh yeah, a little product placement. Nice. Look at Beach. Go check out our store, and I guess I don't know. That's pretty much it for me.
Great to be back.
Yeah.
It's not.